Welcome in, everybody. I'm Joey. Today, we're in the Shelby GT500 Hopper. Everyone is in the same car. It's over 750 horsepower, but it's also over 4,100 pounds. In other words, put in the wrong hands, this could do some serious damage, and there actually is a silent killer among us. And we're going to meet him in just a second. There he is. So at this point, I was in shock after witnessing the murder of a couple of Shelbys, and so I cut the track a bit and got myself a second and a half right off the bat at turn one. So we'll have that beauty to deal with for the rest of the race. We're going to have another incident around turn three. This guy is going to edge me off the track and then use my car as a tool to spin himself. So well done. Me going off the track apparently is not enough space for you. I'll mark that down as his corner so I don't spin him out next time. But fortunately for me, I only lost a bit of speed, and we're actually going to pass 11th place up into the top 10 already on lap number one. I go a bit deep off the midfield straight. The guy up front getting spun out. Somehow he regains control of the car. I start to back out of the corner, and then I get glued to the guy behind, spun into the grass, and try to rejoin the track as safely as possible. Luckily, there was a nice gap there for me to slot myself into. No penalties handed out, and we actually didn't lose any spots either. We're back in 10th place, so we'll just resume as if nothing happened. And here's actually a nice moment of clean driving as we come off the oval. He gives me space on the inside, space given on the outside, and we're through there cleanly. These two geniuses, of course, ruined the moment and ruined the grounds crew's day as well. The grass is absolutely torn up now, as are their cars, so the groundskeepers are pissed. The pit crew is pissed because they got an unlimited amount of damage, and the drivers are pissed as well. As we're coming down the straight, though, we've got this glowing hot beacon that's telling me we've got a guy coming up our inside. Funny enough, this guy is also going to kind of rudely ask me for more space. There was only so much farther left I could go before I was literally kissing the wall, so no idea what he was trying to do there, but he did get a little more space out of me, so I guess his plan kind of worked. He's ahead for now, and we'll make our way back towards the midfield straight for the second time. We're solidly in the slipstream, but as you'll see, I won't gain on him a whole lot, and that's probably because I've got a more handling-oriented tune, and his is probably more on the top speed side of that spectrum. So while all the cars are upgraded to the same PI spec, we are allowed to mess around with the tuning settings a little bit. So I tweaked this one to be a bit more handling oriented. It does seem like the handling cars perform a bit better in this Forza. But we'll come out of turn 10 with the run, and I really wanted to send it up the inside coming out onto the oval once again, but if I pushed it anymore, I probably would have spun him out. So we'll let him have the corner, and we'll try to go for the move another time, probably at the end of the main straight if everything goes to plan. Keeping to the left coming out of the penultimate corner so that we can take a better line onto the straight, and you can already see we're closing that gap to 7th place. He took a very narrow line, which is definitely going to compromise his exit. And even though I think my tune has that lower top end, I'm still closing that gap. Not quite enough to go for the move into turn one, but I am going to pull out and hope that he sees me and makes a mistake. He does, leaving that space on the inside, and I'll get by him, making a little contact, but we are by him, and we'll continue on and try to get 6th place now. Getting back on the power as early as possible, but not moving all the way out to the left, and knowing that we've got the chicane coming up, and it looks like we've got the run on 6th. We're still reeling them in, but I can tell we're about to start losing that speed battle. All the while, I'm looking for the start of the curb on the right side. That's my braking point. All over the curb on the left side. Somehow that's not a penalty. I guess I kept 2 tires on that curb, so it was all good and dandy. Skipping to close to the end of lap 4. I've caught up to 5th place, and back out onto the oval, I'll go for a similar move that I made on lap 1. Up the inside, plenty of space afforded to the both of us, and into the penultimate corner. I'll try the cutback. That'll hopefully hold him narrow out onto the straight and compromise that top speed that he can get up to, but I'm just not patient enough on the throttle here. Going too deep and losing a bit of momentum myself, although we are still in that slipstream, so we'll give him some pressure into turn 1. Space opens up on the inside. I'll take that, and back to the left. We're able to keep it. That's moved on. A nice way to end off the race. That put me up into the top 5 and it'll end there. So the start of the race was absolutely balls to the wall nuts. And then all of a sudden, like it usually does in Forza, once you get towards the front of the pack, things start to calm down. You're around guys that somewhat know what they're doing, and you can have a decent race. Now we're on to Yas Marina, which is prime turn 1 dive bomb territory. Do we get nuked around turn 1? No. It actually looks pretty clean. And that was the entire race. So no matter how rare, we have proved that you can have a clean turn 1 and an uneventful rest of the race. We'll have our shoey happily, and we'll move on to Daytona, where right off the bat, this guy's falling asleep at the wheel and just ruined SpongeBob's race over there. Poor guy's race was over before it started, but he'll probably be the one to start the petition for Daytona rolling starts, which I will be more than happy to sign. So SpongeBob, let's get that going. We've got some smoke laid down. A couple of guys spun out. Another couple of guys spun out in front. I'll stay confident, stick to my line, and the guys, fortunately, move over to the right, and I am free. So we've successfully avoided severe brain cell loss, at least for the time being, and this one will actually turn into a pretty fun race, so it's a good thing we did. We've got that tricky left-hander coming up where it gets dark just where you see the apex, and we're through there okay, although I didn't have the stones to go full throttle, so no balls on my part to lift there. Not a whole lot more I could have done there. By the time I hit my braking point, I was pretty much already sniffing tailpipe, so I guess I'll just be happy that we didn't spin out and no one else did, and we can just keep on keeping on. So we'll go up one more position and head out onto the oval, full throttle until we get to the bus stop, which we'll skip to on lap 2 when I finally caught up to leading group, and we'll start fighting it out for the lead here. And there definitely is some fighting going on. The two leading cars rubbing one out through the bus stop, and I'll find my way up into third place, but I don't quite have enough speed to start challenging for second, so he'll come down and I'll happily sit back in that slipstream and power towards the start of lap 3, which is going to be a tricky one because we've got a bit of draft and we're going about 200 miles an hour, so I'll need to adjust the braking point just enough so that I don't go barreling wide into turn 1. So passing the starting line, braking just at the end or maybe a little after the second white dividing line. That lines me up pretty nicely for the apex as pretty much everybody else goes wide, and I'm up into second place just like that, and pretty close to the back of first place as well. Skip forward a couple of turns, and all of a sudden it started drizzling relatively heavily, which would be raining, dumbass. Or maybe it was the Forza gods starting to cry because they foresaw a little bit of chippiness as I almost get spun out, counter steer left, save it, and I think what happened there was third place probably got hit from behind, inadvertently ran into me, so that's just a racing incident. No one got spun out. We'll continue on. We've got some jockeying for position to do now that we're back on the oval. In the slipstream of the white Mustang in front, he'll go up high, I'll slip into the space down low, but lurking behind us is Gramail, if that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if I got it wrong. And he is just flying by. We have a little coming together. That's going to put me on a very narrow line into the bus stop. That white Mustang popping back up on the right, Gramail on my left. I got to give him space coming out. He'll get the run, but no big deal. I'm thinking I'll just slot right back into that slipstream like I have the past couple laps, and we'll be all good. But this time around, we've got another challenger behind me who's soaking up that slipstream that I should be getting, and he's going to steal third place from me for the time being. Hanging back, surveying the situation. Left lane's moving a bit quicker, so I'll move over, follow him through, regain third place, and into turn 1. I make a bit of a risky, dangerous maneuver there, swerving out into the middle of the road, and frankly, I deserve to be ass backwards right now for that, but fortunately, we're dealing with a couple of decent drivers here who haven't put me straight into a wall. So, what's the sit rep here on the final lap? We're in third place, fighting for the podium. First place is beginning to pull away. He's at about a second and a half ahead from me, and we've got a couple of guys pretty close behind, 3 actually, that are all fighting for the podium. So pretty cool. This is shaping up to be a pretty close race in the end. Heavy on the brakes into the hairpin, trying to keep it as narrow as possible with someone very close behind, their nose poking up the bottom of the screen there for just a second. Now we'll want to nail this next left-hander onto the oval section, but I've missed the apex. I'm already losing ground to the guys in front. Fortunately, it looks like fourth place is losing ground to me, so they've gauged the braking in this wet weather just as bad as I have, which is very fortunate. And if I want any hope of catching the guys up front, I'll need to have a great bus stop. So on the entry, okay. On the exit, the back tire's getting squirrely, not putting the power down as early as I needed to. And that was the nail in the coffin. Well, not really the nail in the coffin, because it was a great race. We got third place. We gained about 11 spots, I think. Yep, 11 spots. And we had some fun doing it. It was a really great race there. And we'll close the video out at Watkins Glen, where we have a typical start for Forza, some guy just not driving forward. Way to go. And I'd like to introduce you to this guy. We'll call him Dumbass for this beautiful show he's just put on. The man was on a mission, and that mission was full of salt. Make no mistake about it. Thanks to him, we've actually gained a couple of spots. You hate to see the ramming, but also, you love to see the positions going up. This guy, fortunately, ghosted out. I was praying the whole time he wouldn't unghost. This guy bouncing off a wall and nearly killing me and putting me in the other wall. Fortunately, the GT500 is a tank, and it can take a hell of a lot more than that. Into the bus stop for the first time. Down in the third gear, taking all of the curb available. And oh my God, there goes Dumbass into the wall where he belongs. What a douchebag. It's one thing to go for the ram, and then it's a whole nother thing to completely and epically fail the ram. That was too close. I was centimeters away from meeting my maker. And we'll skip forward. Lap 2, far out of reach of the Dumbass. We'll make a nice move around the outside of Arts 22. That'll be 7th place, and we can try to catch the Mustang up ahead as we come through one of my favorite corners in the game. You can take it full speed. You just got to get really intimate with that curb on the left side to make sure you don't go into the wall on the right side like that guy on lap 1 did. And here we go, flying by 7th place. We'll get far enough ahead that we can move to the left, take the racing line into the bus stop, and through we go. Now Itchy Buzzard is next, prime for the overtaken. We'll skip to the end of lap 3 through the penultimate corner, sticking close behind. Hopefully we can get this overtake done with the help of the slipstream down the final straight. So here we go. Itchy Buzzard looked like he was moving over to the right to go defensive, but he'll move back over to the left. So happily, I'll take the right side, and he'll show some bravery on the brakes, but I don't think it's going to be enough. We'll get the run out of the corner. Careful not to run into him. Just like that, we're through, and we can set our eyes on the group of 3 that are ahead. And I love to see a group of 3 guys at this point on the track, knowing we've got the bus stop coming up. And usually, when you got a group going into the bus stop, not all of them come out. Or at least they come out worst for wear. So we'll see what happens this time around. We'll look for the 400 board on the left side. That's our braking point down into 3rd gear. So far, so good. And then all of a sudden, these two come together in holy matrimony and then instantly separate so that I can go straight through the middle. So see ya. That's 3rd place. We're up onto the podium, and we can try to catch 2nd place. 1st place is 5 seconds ahead with just under 2 laps to go. We'll have to hope for a disaster from him if we want to catch the leader, but we're right on the tail of 2nd place, so this one is definitely on the table. And knowing that 1st place is just out of reach at this point, we can take our time, eye up a good move, although I am looking at the leaderboard, and 4th place is only half a second behind, but he did just get 9/10 worth of penalties coming around that corner, so that's good news for us, but he could still play a factor in this one. I gave Alex a nice little love tap around the second to last corner just to let him know we're there, and cut it up the inside around the final corner and down the straight. We are neck and neck, just pulling ahead. There is 4th place, very close behind, only 2/10 now into turn 1. We're all 3 right there next to each other. I'm now in the best position of the 3 of us. Well, duh, I'm ahead, yeah, but also I'm not going to be going side by side into the S's uphill. You don't want to be doing that, and we'll see those indicators slowly fade away as we head down the straight, and that'll do it for the race. We'll take 2nd place, or apparently third place because the big Dom 8461 has successfully glitched the game and gone up 18 spots. So good for him. I'll take the -1 position, and we'll end the video there. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do all the stuff that YouTubers tell you to do at the ends of videos, and I will talk to you guys soon. Alrighty, bye everybody.